speak to you about being unshakable. Unshakable in your purpose, unshakable in your assignment, unshakable in the thing that you have been born and put on this earth to do. What do unshakable mean? It means that you are determined. It means that you are focused. It means that you cannot move from that thing. It means that you are going to do it regardless of who approves it, who wants you to do it. However they want you to do it, you are going to stick, you are going to run the course, and you are going to finish the race. Now, I want to talk to you about, there's a difference between a call versus a job. A call is something that is divinely put in you. A job is something that you may go to just to do, to get income, or to, just to do it because it's there to do. But a lot of times you are on jobs, you are doing things that you are unhappy in doing it. I heard that from a great man. So you need to line up to the thing that you have been called to do, and you need to do it and do it well. So I'm going to talk to you about a method that I have used for myself, for my children, for my family, and it proves to be a working method, and I call it the IDE. The IDE simply works like this. First of all, you need to realize that you have a call. Then you need to identify that thing that you have been called to do. Boy, I remember when before the mortgage boom, I was doing well. I had a mortgage company for about 8 or 10 years, and then all of a sudden, here comes the crash in 2008, 2007, which caused me to go from 15 employees to eventually 1 employee, and then eventually to no employee, just myself sitting in the office. Boy, that took me to a place that I began to get depressed about it. I began to question what it is that I am to do and where, what am I to do next to provide for my family. I ended back up in corporate America. And once I got back in corporate America, of course, I had proved myself as a leader. So I was promoted to be the community co-chair without even an interview. For the organization called Black Organizational Leadership Development Bowl, in which I had to recruit team members, in which I had to come up with community outreach events, which I had to train on branding and teaching people how to not just be a CEO outside of a corporation, but also be a CEO, have a business mentality inside. So once I did all that, I had, encouraging people through downsizing and driving 2.5 hours to go to work sometimes in Jersey, I was simply tapped on my shoulders 21 days before Christmas and I was told I was being released. Boy, you know how I felt. I'm going to tell you, I boo-hooed in front of the person that told me because I had already planned to be there. I planned to, pretty much pick up my retirement. But I always knew in my mind that I will have a business still one day. So I was planning to stay there for about 15 years, and then I'll retire and start my own. So that was not God's plan. But at the time, I didn't know that. After I got through the emotional part of being let go and being fired from a company that I pretty much thought I can trust, I began to sit and have a quiet conversation with God and ask him, now what is it that you want me to do? Because I thought this was it, but evidently this is not it. So what is it that I'm to do? I plan to do this, I plan to do that, and here I am 21 days before Christmas, and now I have to recalculate how I'm going to get gifts because I pretty much had already figured that I would give this person this gift and this person this gift, but that all changed. So here I am asking the question, what do you want me to do? I thought I was doing it, but evidently I was not. Or you got me to this point where the only thing I could do is ask you, what do I do? And do it. So he answered me. He said, I want you to do the thing that I called you to do, and I want you to do it unshakable. I don't want you to get off course anymore. I don't want you to go from the left nor to the right. I want you to do what I called you to do before the economy that went upside down, the balloon burst, or whatever they want to call it. I want you to get back at it. Because I had allowed defeat to set in on me. So when defeat set in on me, I was just mainly focusing more on defeat than my calling. So I was no longer determined. I was more so just existing. I wasn't living. I was existing. I was going through the motions. I was just doing what I had to do to keep money coming into my house, to keep everybody quiet. But that really wasn't what I was supposed to do. I wasn't happy. I ended up gaining about 30 pounds. And let me tell you, as soon as I began to realize that, weight began to drop off me. I was carrying unbirthed babies. So the weight dropped off me. I started getting back on this healthy kick. Started feeling very sure about myself, feeling good about myself. Starting to want to be around other women that was doing it. Because I think that part of not doing it also caused me to go into a jealous mode. Or I don't want to be around that. Or they think they all that. That was because I was not doing what I was supposed to do. I was too focused on them doing it that I became envious of them doing it because I wasn't doing it. So here we are. So that is what created unshakable. That's where the word unshakable came from, because I had to create a word that would cause me to not move from my assignment again. And so unshakable became my word. I took ownership of it. I own it. And then living on purpose. So I knew all along that I was supposed to help people do that, discover their purpose and figure out whatever it is they're supposed to be doing. I knew that all along, but I wasn't doing it because, again, I was off course. I was in a mode that I wasn't designed to be in. So here we are, and that's basically how I ended up with the word. Now, as I'm studying more and more about living on purpose and seeing and studying the suicide rates and people that die early or kill themselves because they're unhappy and depressed, I'm discovering that a lot of the depression is coming from they're not happy with their life, or they're not happy with themselves, and they have put themselves in a mode where they feel, again, they're just existing. They're not living. We gotta live. You gotta live abundantly. Every day you put your foot on the floor, you should be happy or excited about what's about to happen that day. So I've developed this method called IDE, where, first of all, you got to identify your purpose. And then you got to develop your purpose. And then you have to allow others to see it, your gifts and your abilities. So that's called exposure. So I was so gracious and so grateful to be able to have that time to do that. Because, again, it was something that had to knock me off my feet to cause me to go back. And when I came back, I came back stronger. I came back more determined. I came back more purposeful. Everything I say I do in my life has to line up to my purpose. I just can't dip and dab here. I can't get on this bandwagon, or I can't get on that bandwagon. It has to line up to what my purpose is and what I've been called to do, because I don't like wasting time or money. So in order to do that, I got to be focused. So as I identify, when you identify something, you're being made aware of. You're being made to see what it is that particular thing is. So I moved something. I'm sorry. So you're being made aware of it. You're being, you're putting your finger on it. So you have to identify what it is that your purpose is. So you're going to have a conversation with God. And once you identify that gift and your ability, and you know yourself, you got to know yourself. And this is not based on other people's facts or opinions about you. Sorry, I even had some of those. I don't think that you can do that or do that well. Or, what in the world was I thinking of to ask another person's opinion about it? Because it's a difference when a person comes to you in love to tell you maybe you need to work on this piece of it to get a little bit sharper, or here, let me give you some suggestions on some training to help you on that. But when a person knocks you down, when you're already down, I would say run immediately, because that person themselves are insecure. So you begin to ask him, and he begin to show you, and you may take assessments on it, and you hear people often say this: "Oh my goodness, you do that so well. You are so great at that. It's a natural for you. Oh my goodness, I need you to help me with this. Or I need you to help me with this." When I was going through that transition of that release from one part of my life to this part where I am now, people had no idea, because I didn't broadcast it, because you go through the shame of it first, like, oh my God, I've been fired. You go through that first. So I didn't broadcast it because I felt ashamed. But I was put on the mind of some great women. They called me, said, "Cassandra, I want to know if you want to be a part of my book project. Cassandra, I want to recognize you for what you do with young girls and community outreach." They had no idea that they were the lifelines that were thrown out to me by God. But this is what I'm talking about when you get around secure people. They do that. They walk and do things and hear and see things in you, and they try to encourage you to do what you've been called to do. So I began to do it. At first I would say, "No, Mama, I'm not writing down." No, because again, people have told me that I wasn't capable of doing it. But this time, I said, "You betcha, I'm gonna do it." Yep. What you want me to do? When is it due? How much? Because I knew that it was all a part of my assignment. So you may ask yourself, as you're identifying that thing, if you're not sure and you're praying about it, you may ask yourself these questions. What is it that I hate to see? I'm going to tell you what I hate to see: bad leadership. Oh yeah. I hate to see leaders that down people. I hate to see leaders that don't recognize the value that are in people and don't encourage them and bring them up. I hate absolutely to see that. So I knew that a part of my calling was to help people to develop as leaders. Because, and I also hate to see people just exist and not moving in their purpose, just simply existing and just moseying along. Oh, I don't need to know. And when people tell me, "Oh, I wrote this book," and I said, "Well, what are you doing with it?" "Oh, nothing, because it's not time yet." I hate for people to put things off and start instead of doing things right now. So I absolutely hate that. So, and you also may want to ask yourself a question: what burdens you? What is it that burdens you? What is that thing that, when you see it, it's kind of heavy on you, and you wish you can do something about it. That too. And if you had the power and the ability to fix it, how would you fix it? So that's another question as you're discovering. And what is it that you get the most compliments on? Oh, you do that so well. Oh, I like the way you do that. Oh, you decorate so well. Oh, can you come do this? Oh, you speak so well. Oh, you're such an encouraging person. You encourage the young women. Oh, young women gravitate to you and they're comfortable around you. Diamonds and pearls. So those are the questions you ask, you pray and you ask yourself, what is it you're passionate about? And, you go to that quiet place in yourself. When you're asking those questions, wait for an answer. Because a lot of times we don't wait for an answer. And humble yourself. A lot of times, we may think that we are doing something oh so great and oh so terrific. It's so hardy. So hardy. I ask that you do yourself a favor. Remain humble. And then you got to develop. You got to develop because I think that's important. I think it's important to develop a skill set. It's important to develop the thing that you love to do, not to just, put yourself out there. But when you put yourself out there, let yourself be an essential piece to the puzzle. So in order for it to operate, you got to have your piece of the puzzle to fit in. And in order to get good at something, you have to develop it. And I often say, put yourself around subject matter experts or people that have done some development, they have done some training, and they're at the point where they're willing to share with you. Put yourself around those people. And those people are usually secure people that are willing to share and are willing to coach and mentor you. So when you're choosing those people, those people that can help you to develop, make sure that you not only watch, but listen. Because it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but it's what comes out. So listen. Listen to conversations. Listen to things that are said. So, develop. You have to also untrain yourself to be a know-it-all. You got to be teachable. As long as you're teachable, you're reachable. So put yourself in a student mode because remember, you're developing yourself. You're developing yourself for your calling and your purpose. So put yourself in a teaching mode that you're a student. And I'm just sitting here to learn. No. Can you do this, Cassandra? Not right now. Let me just learn. Let me just learn some things. Let me just assist you. Or let me help you because I need to learn how to do it. I don't want to watch right now. So put yourself there where you develop your craft, you develop your gifts, whatever you want to call it. So people, when they see you, they see that you have spent some time in learning that thing. And then here comes the exposure. And that kind of, that's automatic when you get a good mentor, a good coach. Sometimes I think a lot of people also miss this point. When you are in your development stage, you have to pay some money for some stuff. One thing that I like to do is I like to show people I appreciate their time because nobody has to do it. Nobody got to do it. They're doing it because they want to do it. So you may have to pay for some coaching, some mentoring, some training. But if you have done your research and you see that that person does it well, that should be easy for you to do. Yeah, that should be easy. So now you're going to go into the exposure part. Now you're going to be ready. Is there a time frame on this? I'm going to say no. There's no time frame. I'm developing, a 45-day plan or map to get you on your purpose, but could it take some people longer? Yeah, it could. It depends on how long you stay in each step, how much longer. Don't rush it. You can't rush a good cake. You gotta bake. You gotta let it bake. You gotta let it cook. You gotta let it simmer. You gotta let it do all this. So don't feel like you have to rush it. Because if you rush through the development stage, you may miss a brick, an important piece. You may miss it. So you want to make sure that one thing you do is you keep you believe in yourself. And you keep that belief up, but don't rush it. Let the process that you need to go through it. And don't let no one try to make you rush it. So now you're at this exposure time. And usually, I'm going to tell you, usually those people that were helping you to develop are the ones that's going to help you to be exposed. And I hate to say it, but sometimes it ain't the ones who you think it is. It is not the ones you think that were supposed to help you. It may be a total stranger. Somebody that you may not even talk to every day. Somebody that you may have just met may be it. But receive the gift once it walks into your life. Receive it. And then you may need to reconnect to some people that were helping you before. You may, some people that you have kind of brushed off because you were in a place that you had blinders on. You had a veil over your eyes. You weren't seeing anything. You weren't seeing yourself go beyond where you were. So you may need to reconnect. You may need to reconnect to them to basically get some expert advice. But do that. Okay, and as you're watching and you're listening, again, you're at the exposure part. And what happens there? Let's see. If you're a writer, a book. If you're a model, you may model. If you're an athlete, like my son, he had to go through some development with a trainer to learn some football techniques. And it's time to play the game. All that training. Now you got to put it to action. If you're a speaker, you may have to speak. So you may have to, again, make sure you're around the right people that is willing to help you not only develop, but with the exposure part. Okay, now when you think about exposure, you're also putting yourself at risk. You are putting yourself out there. But I say this, take the risk. We could take the risk to look at, start a new job. People say, oh, I want you to work for me. I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to help you, reach this goal. I'm going to help you become this CEO, or I'm going to help you become, I shouldn't say CEO, but CEO of something. But I'm going to help you to become, let's say, CFO, Chief Financial Officer. I'm going to help you become the VP, the Vice President, or the AVP, the Assistant Vice President. Oh, how about this? The community co-chair. So those are different things that, people promise you, and you take a risk. You drive an hour, you drive 2.5 hours, or you may do anything because you are taking a risk to do that particular thing. So why not take a risk and live on purpose? Live in your purpose and your calling. Okay, so you've been around the right people, and the exposure time is coming for you to do that thing you have been coached on, and now you're ready to do it. Now, I haven't dealt with some of the negative things that had caused you to be in that place of not dreaming, or that place of not being able to do the thing you have been called to do. And I could think of 3 things that kept me from living on purpose. 1, discouragement, fear, and money. Yep, we have those. And we do need to deal with those. We need to uproot it. We need to deal with it. We need to bring it to the forefront. Because my thing is this: if you don't deal with it, you can't move forward. And some people, even unforgiveness. The people that have hurt you, that have done things to you, that you constantly think about, oh, I'm going to get them. No, you ain't got to get them. Let God get them. But you still need to forgive them. You need to forgive them so you can move to the next place in your life. So when you think about, discouragement and how, people may have said that you're not good enough, or you don't have what it takes, or they don't invite you to be a part of their panel, or they don't invite you to be a part of their program, or they don't invite you to be a part of their study. All that comes, and you begin to think of yourself not being equipped enough to do the thing that you love to do. All because you didn't get an invite. Whatever. Have your own conference. Create your own panel. Write your own book. Then you won't have to stop waiting on people to invite you to do their stuff. So that discouragement, we're going to, you cancel that and start speaking life to yourself. The words, take those negative words and put a positive word on it. Instead of saying, I have fear, say I have faith. Instead of saying I'm doubtful, say I have confidence. Instead of saying that I'm weak, say I'm strong. So every negative word that comes, put a positive word on it and speak it, write it, record yourself, and keep repeating it till you believe that you are actually who God says you are. Keep saying it. Keep saying it to yourself. And then separate yourself from negative people. Separate yourself. Separate yourself from those people that's constantly speaking negative about you, constantly doubting you, because they are leeches. They are trying to drain the life out of you. So separate yourself. And I say this: you may have to separate yourself for a time. They may not be, a person that you're altogether supposed to get out your life. You may have to separate yourself for a certain time. But wait till you're strong enough to handle it. Sometimes when we go through something that knocks us down, we're very vulnerable. So we can't handle all the conversations, or we can't handle all the words that's saying to us. Separate yourself till you have enough strength to deal with that foolishness, and then go back to them and say, hey, you need to watch what you say out your mouth, because you are causing people to be stuck. So, fear. Now, I think fear is I think fear is an overflow from discouragement, because a lot of times when you're discouraged, it leads you into fear. And fear, I always say, it's just the devil's little puff balls he blow at you to make you think that you don't have the capability of doing something. So, fear, just try to fear. Just be encouraged. Get around those faith talking, walking people that'll help you get rid of that fear. And then you have money. Money, people often say that I can't do that because I don't have enough money. Or, money funny, change is strange. That's my favorite line. But you know what? I will never say that I am broke. Because I believe in the power of life and death or in the tongue. So I may say that I don't have that right now, or it's on its way. But what I have begun to do, and I stopped doing this, I have begun to, again, try to increase your monthly cash flow. And how do I do this? You have gifts, you have abilities, you have talents, you have skills, you have things that you have developed that you're able to do. Use them. Use them for your advantage, just like you use them for that company's advantage. Take those skills, take those abilities. If you can do administrative things, go ahead and create an administrative business. If you're able to edit things and see mistakes, all these people out here writing books, be an editor. If you're able to put outfits together or do things like that, be a fashion stylist. Whatever it is, my streams are going to simply be like this. I'm going to have earned income. I'm going to have assets. I'm going to have royalties. I'm going to have capital gains and losses. And that's going to come from real estate that I sell and gain money from that. Royalties is rents I'm going to have. Assets, and the asset income is going to be coming from the interest. And then I'm also going to have, speaking engagements. I'm going to have books. I am going to make sure that I don't put all my eggs in one basket again, because nobody will ever tap me on my shoulder again 21 days before Christmas and tell me I'm fired. So you got to be ready. You got to be prepared. And this is why I tell people, don't sit on things. Say, oh, I can do that next year, or I can do this next year. Move on it. Do it. Think about what's in your hand. Think about those trainings you have. And I even think about Warren Buffett. People see Warren Buffett as this very famous and rich guy. Warren Buffett started multiple businesses. He did multiple things. But what catapulted him the most was real estate. Yeah. He owned real estate. And then that took off. And he wasn't just becoming a landlord. He was buying properties and getting capital gains off of properties. And then also think about the Redskins, but the Ravens, the owners of the Ravens, Mashadi. He started a company, a temporary agency, out of his basement. Now look at him. He's the owners of the Baltimore Ravens. See, we need to look at the people that have come to a place that we recognize them and realize that they did not just come to that place overnight. They had to do the work. In the book of Proverbs, it says a lazy person, I'm not going to say man or woman, remains poor. It said that in the season you need to sow so you can reap a harvest. No seed, no harvest. Just that simple. Now you need to forget about the past. You need to be bold. You need to be bold in front of the person that said that you couldn't do it. You need to speak life. You need to focus on the good. You need to focus what's important. You need to build. And you need to build. You need to make sure that whatever you're building, just like there were certain rivers that ran out the Garden of Eden that were not destroyed. And that's because they were deep and wide. So when you're building, and this is spoken to me, and I'm going to say from God, when you're building, make sure you're building it deep enough and wide enough. So if a flood was to come, it won't take you out. So build with caution. And do it now. Now as you think, start it now and do the work. The world is waiting.